Cuba, gorgeous country, strange team.
You've been to Cuba?
No, but I've seen pictures.
Okay.
Most of the ones you showed me today.
Yeah.
But I did study a lot of Cuban history in school, so I would say I'm up to date on the historical side of Cuba, and that's why it makes this game so much more appetizing. Cuba versus the United States.
You are interested in eating the game?
Appetizing in terms of consuming the video content. Look how I switched that around, Jason. Riddle me that. How many times have I said that on the clip? So I'm going to continue to say it.
It's the theme of the week.
So these two have history both on and off the field. We don't want to get too geopolitical. This is TYT Sports. If you want to get political, go to TYT Network. But we do have to bring up some of the historical points that I'm undoubtedly sure will play a part in the dressing room. In Cuba's side, probably more than in the United States. Because the United States, if they don't win this game, it's shocking in terms of the difference between these two teams. If Cuba are looking for extra incentive, obviously they just have to read the history books and probably get themselves upset about how they have been disregarded by the United States in the past or whatever have you. But in terms of on the field, the United States have outscored Cuba 29-5. So there is enough of an incentive in that alone to right the wrongs.
What's interesting is that makes Cuba maybe, just maybe, the one team the United States has constantly beat down over the past 10, 15, 20, going back really to 1947.
Yeah.
65, 75 years, right? But what's interesting about this, I've seen this happen with other sports teams that I root for and any fan of any sports team. If you only beat bad teams, it doesn't necessarily make you a good team. Because if you cannot go toe-to-toe with the better teams in these tournaments, of course, World Cup football, like you're not going to be taken as seriously, you're not going to become a better team overall. So it sounds harsh. But the truth of the matter is we have to beat Cuba. I say we, partially also you, have to beat Cuba the same way Mexico beat Cuba in the opening round of this Gold Cup by a score of like 6-0.
Yeah.
Or at least a very strong presence, a 2-0, a 3-0. Let's not concede a goal. That's one great start because the back four definitely needs the confidence boost. And the American team, observationally, they have either the most difficulty scoring goals or they find a way that doesn't look as easy.
Well, the last game
It just never looks that fluid, but they find ways to get to the back of the net, which is fine, as long as you find ways. I know Klinsmann is definitely about finding a hole to at least score some sort of goal, because you can't win without him, obviously. This is very common sense. But I guess what I'm trying to really say is we need to win by 6, 7, 8 goals, because if we don't, we're not going to progress. We need to get better.
You need to be convincing in your win. The game against Panama was not a convincing performance against a team that is far weaker.
I haven't seen the U.S. have a convincing performance, at least in the last year. And I mean convincing, like from
wasn't convincing enough to beat the world champions.
I know, but the whole thing with the friendlies is like I think there's so much more when there's anything on the line. Even if it's the Gold Cup, which to a lot of people, a lot of world football fans, isn't a big deal. It's not Copa America. I understand that. But when there's hardware on the line, the similar things in the Premier League with the FA Cup, with Copa del Rey, it means that much more because there's something to be won and achieved. And if we are going to take the next step to becoming an actual, legitimate, recognized football club amongst the elites of the world, you got to convince us that we can beat a team like Cuba, and then you got to continue on. But losing to Cuba would basically make the last year and a half, to me, practically worthless.
Yeah, I agree you need to win this game, and you need to win this competition. You're still, in my opinion, the strongest team in the competition. Obviously, Mexico are one of the favourites as well, and a strong team.
Costa Rica's been playing very well, too.
Nah, they tied with El Salvador. Costa Rica are one of the teams that I think should be at the forefront of this competition after their World Cup performance. I mean, I just think that they were so surprising in the World Cup, the way they played. They had so many talented players, and I just expected them to come into this and take this tournament by storm. But I'm saying this in all confidence that they're not performing the way that they should have been based on the World Cup time with a team like El Salvador. No discredit to El Salvador, no discredit to Guatemala, no discredit to any of these teams who seem to be performing to put up a challenge to these teams who are far better than them. This is a small teams tournament because these teams are rising to the occasion, like Jamaica, who rose to the occasion on several occasions, like this team, like Cuba, who just won 1-0 and have reached the tournament, the latter stages of the tournament, and are going to go with a bit between their teeth to try and win this competition. But this team is not free from drama. They have had a few instances, and the funny thing now I want to talk about is they've had a history of players deflecting from the tournament and deflecting from national duty. And in this scenario, you have a guy called Kellen Garcia, who basically defected from the team and then went into the Univision studio and commented on their game. So he's just like, I'm out, boys. Is that up the stairs? I'm going to go up the stairs. I'm going to go up and sit up in the executive room.
I guess to explain this to anybody who doesn't understand how the idea of defection works, that would essentially be like if Lionel Messi decided, you know what, it's the day before the World Cup final, I'm just going to go broadcast it for Univision instead of playing in it. And of course, in American sports, it would be the same if Kobe Bryant decided in the NBA Finals, no, Game 3 and Game 4, I'm going to go on ESPN and broadcast.
In Cuba has had a history of this, so you need to wonder what's going on in between the camp. But to go back to what we were talking about and what is riding on this game, of course there is some sort of tension between these nations up to many years up until the recent times. There has been the inability for Americans to travel to Cuba. There's been that more than anything else, just a tension. That's the only thing I can really say. I don't want to get into the details of it, but you have to think that this is going to play a part in this game. You have to think in the Cuba dressing room, they're going to be saying some things that are going to be not so nice about their American counterparts. And they're going to be like, we have to go out here for the nation to prove that we are the David who deserves a chance.
What language do Cubans speak?
What language do Scottish people speak?
Scottish.
I like that call.
You want to go, pronounce aluminum.
Aluminium. Comments in the section below whether you agree with what I said about aluminium or aluminum.
Aluminium is made up of 3 or 4 main parts of the word, spelled like this, but Americans pronounce it like this. Something tells me that Americans are using the wrong vowels. You might as well say aluminum. English people pronounce it like this. That's awkward. We pronounce it correctly.
Jason, what do you think the score is going to be? Who's going to be the goal scorers? There's no Jozy Altidore because he was deemed unfit, obviously, for this competition. But who do you think is going to lead the United States in this game?
I do love the quote. The big news, Jozy Altidore is back in Toronto after Klinsmann decided the forward's fitness simply wasn't up to snuff following a hamstring injury that derailed his preparation for the tournament.
Great use of the word snuff.
Snuff.
I could just imagine someone being like, snuff? Is that even a word?
Right.
Show me a sentence. He's like, Jozy Altidore just went back there because his injury was deemed snuff.
Got it right here.
Proven. Point proven.
Score. My predictions never come true. So if I were to say that the U.S. men's national team wins 3-0, they will absolutely not win 3-0.
Yeah.
So I will defect from giving a prediction.
In fitting with the clip. Well done.
Francis, yes.
So you're
and I'm going to go to Univision.
You're going to go up the stairs and just pretend there's another studio upstairs.
Well, if I was going to, I'm thinking Univision isn't the Spanish broadcasting one. Which one is it?
No, it's BN.
BN. Never mind. If it was BN, I'd be like, oh, it'd be 4-0.
But you didn't speak Spanish.
I only know numbers, and the Y is and.
All right, I think it's going to be a comfortable 3 or 4-0 win for the United States. I wouldn't be surprised, should I say, if it was a little harder than expected because their game against Panama was not convincing, but I think they need to turn it up in the latter stages of the competition. Michael Bradley was on the score sheet in the last game, the new captain, America, fitting into
Carly
his
Lloyd.
role.
Michael Bradley, sorry. It's Carly Lloyd.
All right, well, we have to, they got the reward at the ESPYs now. We need to focus on the men's team because they need to win the Gold Cup.
We need to win.
We need to win as many cups.
We need to win the World Cup. We need to win many cups. More, Francis. Do you want the audience to win more free T-shirts?
I always want more free T-shirts because I want to walk out.
You don't win a free T-shirt.
I just want to walk out.
They win free T-shirts.
I want to walk out one day and just see people with TIT sports shirts and just have no idea how they got them, but just be happy.
Everywhere. Okay, so here's the competition, along with the other competitions that we have done. When you watch this video and you've gotten to this point, you can leave your score prediction in the comment section below. Nail the score prediction, you get a T-shirt. Tiebreaker. Pick those who have scored the goals. We will close the prediction section. I guess you can't really close that, but we will stop predictions at 2 p.m. Pacific time, at kickoff. Nice. So if we see, 7 p.m.
Some guy 90 minutes in the game, I think it's going to be 2-0.
I think it's going to be 2-0. I think Dempsey and Bradley are going to score. You're not going to win a free T-shirt. You might get actually a sarcastic reply, though. Maybe.
There's a few sarcastic replies out there. I like that. I like that about us. We're not scared to ruffle some feathers.
At all.